Thank you, Tom. It's great to be back. It's looking forward to a home game this week. Our students join us back on campus here tomorrow. So looking forward to welcoming them and back on campus and then back here in the Reynolds Center. Um, we today when we meet with our team, we'll talk about Dr. Martin Luther King and his great quote about comfort and convenience, and about battling adversity. And I think that's a real testament to our team. The season is one of a long journey, and experiencing some prosperity, experiencing some adversity. That's what it's all about, and how you handle different situations. And I thought our guys, their preparation going into last week, fueled a good performance on the court, on the road, and now we just want to keep building on that, keep getting better and better, and get ready for a Memphis team here on Wednesday.
Coach, what did you learn from this team on this road trip?
Yeah, I learned that it just really more than anything told me again, we've got a competitive group. Like they're a group that wants to win. They want to compete. They enjoy the road environment of going into somebody else's building, and it just said a lot. Having lost that game against South Florida, just the way that they came back and got right back to work. We often say that 24 hours after any game, we want to feel the same way, and that's really been consistent with this group.
How many different looks did UAB throw at you guys? It was incredible just to see the number, and you guys seem poised, you seem confident, and nothing that they seemed to throw at you really threw you off of guard.
They do a lot, and they're one of those teams that they just constantly keep changing, and they'll then stick with something for a while if they think that you're having a hard time with it, and then they'll change again and they just constantly keep you on your toes. Some of the preparation for them was back in the summer, and us putting a different philosophy together for our team in playing in more a conceptual flow basis, even after scores, and not trying to run plays but make more plays in identifying certain things. Yes, we absolutely ran some actions when we identified certain things from 1-3-1 to 3-2 to 2-3. Sometimes they'd go 1-3-1 back to man, sometimes back to zone. Like there's just a number of different things. So I thought the guys took the information really well of what we were trying to do and what we were looking for, and then finding the best play.
Can you just simply say that you just made things simpler for them? Is that a fair enough thing to say?
Yeah, fairly. Again, like it takes a lot longer to build a more conceptual offense, and it takes giving your players a lot more freedom. And you run a number of set plays similar to football. You can just puppeteer the game and do this. I want this, and you evaluate your team based on how they run the play. But without a doubt, it's simpler when it starts to work, but it takes a lot longer to get to that point. But it has proven to be a very good way for this team to play.
Would you surmise the win as a total team win? Because obviously Barnstable and Green, from what they did and how good they were, but like everyone seemed to play a little piece and part in that victory.
Absolutely a total team effort. We talk about being committed physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and that's what it's going to take from all of us to be able to get those types of wins. It's a hard place to play. Not many teams go in there in the history of that building and win. And so, yes, David Green and Miles Barnstable and Tylen Riley scored double figures, and Tyler Barron had his career high at 16 points, went 8 of 8 from the field. But I thought KJ Martin and Jalen Lawal came in and really gave us contributions. Ramad Dean's energy, Ian Smikle's physicality, and then the guys that maybe didn't appear in the game as much, but just their rallying of the troops on the sidelines. It took it to everybody.
What type of momentum does this create to get 2 wins like that on the road and then come back home to face a team like Memphis?
Yeah, I think momentum's a tricky thing. I think what it does is builds confidence and understanding of another aspect of, hey, this works for us, or maybe this doesn't work for us so well. And it's just constantly building that database and that continuity among the team. We're I think as people, but especially as teams, we're a collection of our experiences and things that we can point back to as a coaching staff. Hey, remember this when we went against so-and-so and they did something similar, or, remember when this happened, and we're building that with our group. But without a doubt, this builds confidence, this builds experience, but every game is its own entity.
With the way that they responded from a physical standpoint, and you talked about the physicality that you kind of worked on in practice and coming into these games, and now with what has historically been another physical team coming in with Memphis.
Yeah, and we got to continue to grow there. From a defensive standpoint, scoring is way up in college basketball everywhere, but we've got to find a way to make people miss more often. We've been inconsistent in our rebounding. We've had some really good nights, and more good nights than bad, but those bad nights have turned into really tough outcomes. And so, without a doubt, you look at Memphis and their athleticism, their length, the way that they score twos and attack the basket. Of course, they do it in transition off turnovers and block shots. Every game is its own, but the physical nature of being able to hold our position on both sides of the ball going to be really important.
So the Memphis brand kind of makes any Memphis game a big deal, right? But now the circumstances suggest that or dictate that this is a really important game for you guys. So how do you feel about those guys coming in here Wednesday night, how you match up? And I'll mention that they're 1-6 away from home, and I think that's pretty deceptive because of the strength of schedule and all of that. But how do you feel about presumably the confidence restoration that just happened on these road games, and now you come home to face Memphis?
Yeah, this is an important conference game, and they all are important. And you look at the league standings, there's a log jam still after 5 or 6 games. Everybody's played a little bit different. We've played 5 games, so has Memphis. They're a game ahead of us in the standings, and we have a home game. We prepare for every game the same, with the same type of intensity, but without a question, Memphis is our returning champion from last year, and they have played a really strong schedule. Their one loss is at FAU, who's playing really, really good basketball, and so each game counts as one, but these games in particular, especially when you only play a team once, as you look for tie-breaking and things later on, this is absolutely an important game.
David Green, I just talked with him about, I guess, kind of a informal yet apparently pretty effective players-only get-together after the South Florida game in his apartment. And I've heard that he is sometimes the guy is described as a leader because he's just an older guy, and sometimes guys are really, truly have the leadership qualities. And how would you describe David Green's impact on this team, considering none of these guys really knew each other before the last few months?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, I know I've said it in here to this group that first week of June, I asked, like, does anybody know everybody's name? And it wasn't even close, like nobody. And the growth that they've shown just as people to get to know each other and trust each other is pretty remarkable. David's unique in the fact that he has so much experience that he can point to. He also has experience with me. And in 2 ends of the spectrum, one is as a redshirt freshman and now as a sixth-year senior, he's changed so much. He's grown, matured physically and mentally, and all the things that he has seen, and he's been able to impart that wisdom onto our younger players and to everybody else because he's been through it. He's also been through it at a previous school where, they got off to a great start, had a bunch of injuries, and what he also has is a great, great desire to have a great, special senior year, and you can feel it. He wants it badly. He has grown as a leader incredibly.
When you guys for leaving the floor after the South Florida game. Everybody seemed really kind of disheartened. He seemed angry, like really angry. Got a great picture of him coming off the floor that day. But last thing, these last 2 road games, to go to 2 places where, you know, Charlotte's got a nice team, UAB has the tough arena, as you alluded to, but you trailed only 2 minutes out of 80. So how did you feel about your ability to get leads and hold leads, and even when you went to your bench? I mean, that has to be, I would think, maybe the most positive to come out of that.
Yeah, so many positives. I mean, you know, I look at the season as not to get too high, not to get too low. Just take the information that's in front of us. There's never panic, but then there's also, we don't want to put too much into it either. Like, every game and every possession is a little different, and what was in front of us in those 2 games in challenging environments says a lot about the group for their competitive level, their togetherness, to be able to get those games done. And it was a total team effort. We had foul trouble in the Charlotte game, and we played a couple guys with 2 fouls early in the first half, but we're playing 2 freshmen, good minutes, and those guys are growing. So this is about us becoming the best version of us as we get into late February and March. And, you know, I just think it says a lot about our group, because there's so much noise more than ever on the outside, and what other people's thoughts or expectations are. The most important thing is what's going on in the locker room, and the guys are doing a great job of focusing on that.
So what's the deal with the ice cream? Now, on a road victory, just Bruce always says, hey, you get ice cream. So do you do this at the airport, or do you guys, I'm serious, or do you take it with you and then pass it out on the plane? How does that work?
So I've been doing this every year as a head coach, just because, you know, every win is something to celebrate, but true road wins are the hardest. I mean, they're the hardest. We all know this. The stats will tell you. And so any true road win, we're going to try to find some ice cream, and we'll find it in different ways. So, like, it could be sometimes stopping at a place that just has all these pre-made milkshakes, and we're just going to throw them on the bus of all different flavors. Sometimes, some years, we've found a little boutique creamery type place and get some fancy stuff if we have a little bit of time, especially if it's an afternoon game. But, you know, I'm not going to jump on all the different places. Maybe Learfield can reach out to these places and get us some sponsorships. I don't know, but we're gonna hit anything good on the way to the airport.
What is your personal go-to on ice cream?
Yeah, so I've done a number of things. I like, my go-to is typically some type of vanilla or sweet cream with Oreos, maybe throw some strawberries in there to mask as something healthy. I think yesterday I did some caramel and sea salt in a cone. That's what I did yesterday.
So you get it on their way to the airport? Is that how you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody snacks. Well, they're probably done with it by the time you get off the ground. So.
Well, it's typical. We will have some type of to-go meal in a box on the bus. We'll eat that first, and then this is dessert.
So everybody, and at this point, I'm sure it comes up. You go to the locker room after your road win, and there are references to ice cream.
Oh yeah, they're calling for it for sure. Like, they're making sure I don't forget, and I'm not forgetting either, because I'm a big ice cream fan.
Right, that's great. Okay, thank you.
Coach.
Yeah.
Coach Tyler Barron, you really challenged, the coaching staff really challenged him last week prior to the road trip, and he really responded, certainly those 2 games, but his growth has been remarkable considering where he came from.
These are the stories you just love, right? I mean, this is one of the reasons why we all get into coaching, is to help people grow and improve, and watching it in front of you. Now, again, there's a ton of investment from so many different people. The largest investment, him. He's worked really hard. First on his body. I mean, he was 200 pounds soaking wet when he first came at 6'10", and He's gotten as high as 240 pounds here in the summertime and really improved his strength. And this was such a foreign thing for him. I mean, but his experience in the real world is such a added bonus to our locker room. But he is a very good passer. He's got really good feel. He can shoot. And he's had to learn the college game and just the way that we're playing and he's handy with the basketball. But to go 8 for 8 in the things that he did, like I couldn't be happier for him because we absolutely did charge him. Now, in fairness, he was under the weather. He had lost some weight when under that illness. It affected him. But he's responded really, really well, and it's a huge, huge part of everything we're doing this season.
He's a guy that, as you mentioned, has some skills, but seemed like yesterday the pick and roll slips and that kind of thing was really effective for you. But he finishes. You know, I mean, they were 5-footers, but you got to make them.
Yeah, no, there were some plays right at the rim. And again, he's not a guy that you just throw it way up there and he's a big time lob threat. He's very skillful, and with the gravity pull of shooting on the perimeter, if you can mix the tags and the help, there's opportunities for guys like himself and Ian Schmeichel to find places around the basket. And you know, I thought Tylen Riley made some really good decisions, but so did others in finding him. Even in the press late, they were trapping, and Miles Barnstable hit him, and he finished. And Ade Popola hit him in a nice little pick and roll in the pocket, and he hit a nice floater. So these things build confidence, this experience for him, because he really doesn't have that much experience if you look at it. I mean, this is really his first year playing Division I basketball.
And he resisted the effort to give him an extra milkshake, right? Because he's got to gain weight. He just took the one, right?
I did mention that. You said that he should get 2. So I don't know that he got 2, but I think he did get a large in the one that he got.
I remember 2 years ago you pointing him out at your camp because he was across the building, and you said, "See that tall guy down there?" And you said, very limited experience, but the hardest part is you can't coach 6'10". And you said he has a chance. So it's very interesting what he's doing.
Well, he was 5'3" as a freshman in high school, and then grew to roughly around 6'5" as a senior. But he was a guard for much of his life, and his passing, he can dribble, and then he can stick a shot. But the things that we're doing, like his passing, has really opened up a lot of things for this team. And of course, he grows to 6'10" while serving in the U.S. Navy. I'll never forget when we went out to Navy and we were on one of the ships, and we went down into the quarters underneath. 2 things happened. One, he ran into a guy that he served with just randomly, he recognized him, and that was so cool. And then for our players who are witnessing that, but then I was down there, and you got these tiny little spaces, and 6'10" Tyler, and he's hunched over like this, and one of the guys just said, "Now, you didn't sleep in one of these." He goes, "It was just like this." And just the perspective on the whole thing. Tyler's a grown man, and we're all getting to be involved in a kid's game, and I'm really proud of him for the work that he's put in.
I just looked. Do you know you're number 4 in the country in offensive efficiency?
I know stats can say a bunch of different things, right? I mean, there's a number of different metrics out there, and I also know what we are defensively, Pop. So we're going to keep pushing in both directions.
Positive side, coach, is what I was doing.
51.
But I mean, all the work that you've put in though to see it pay off, to have that efficiency rating that high. I mean, it has to make you feel good, even though you're going to focus on the defensive side. But it's been a lot of hard work that's proving where you're at, even from a points per game aspect.
Well, I think it's so much about the players and figuring out. There's a great saying that the defense is always wrong, but you have to figure it out. And in having guys that can shoot the basketball, and then putting them in a position where they feel freedom, they know that they have confidence from the coaching staff and their teammates. There's a lot that goes into this, and then it's ongoing. Memphis is one of the best defensive teams in the country. They're going to make it really hard, and we've got to be able to win games when the shots aren't falling. But knowing that there's great potential to have big nights is a nice thing, and it's all the credit to the guys for the work that they put in.
Any chance we see Terrence Ford, or do you reach a point at which you just say, you know what, let's just get in 1,000% physically and you're okay?
Yeah, those are ongoing discussions. You know, he'll be reevaluated again here this week just to see where he's at on all that. But you're right. There comes to a point where you, in today's college model, with medical red shirts and everything else, where decisions have to be made.
Did you watch Wichita?
I didn't see any of it. I know it was really close and a heck of a win for Wichita State.
It's 100 to 100. You know, you never used to see those games. You see them all over the place.
It's everywhere. I mean, there's been such a shift. You know, I think about in the last 20 years, first of all, the three-point shot has become way more prevalent than ever before. And this is NBA, college, high school. But just talk about college. And then now the pace of play is so much higher. I mean, it is so much higher. And then offensive rebounding is a big thing too. And you're seeing this at a number of levels. And that's why even in the NBA, you're seeing games of 140 points in games. I mean, scoring is at an all-time level.